Got Talent. Written and read by Claudette Evans. Posters had gone up in woodlands throughout the land for Minos Callow's annual Birds Got Talent. The auditions were to take place during the first week of May, weather permitting, of course, with the final on the last Sunday in that merry month. The sponsors announced the judging panel included controversial broadcaster Piers Badger, rapper, singer and music producer Will I. Otter, comedian, actor, writer and television personality David Magpie, and last but not least, actress and media personality Amanda Dormouse, with singer-songwriter Rita Squirrel and music impresario Andrew Pine Martin in reserve, should any of the aforementioned meet with an accident or get predated by a species higher up the food chain before the grand finale. The organisers were well aware they would be inundated with singers, but hoped to encourage some dancers, acrobats and impressionists to enter this year. The first prize was to be a year's supply of food of the winner's choosing, and within a week they were inundated with applicants. Heats completed, woodland creatures from all corners of the country, including some from abroad, gathered in the Millennium Hollow for the grand finale, and once the hosts, Ozzy Owl and Brucey Hedgehog, had managed to silence the crowd, the first contestant took to the stage. The splendid wooden structure having been donated by Wilfred Beaver's construction company. Several posters along the front announcing the fact and advertising the company's willingness to provide free estimates to potential clients. Leaflets scattered amongst the audience offered a 10% discount. As predicted, most applicants had been singers, but all had been whittled down to produce a varied lineup of 12 acts. And before the show commenced, a ballot was held to determine the order of performance. The opening spot fell to Theo Blackcap and the Used To, whose energetic warbling of Where the Streets Have No Name had the audience rocking in the aisles. Piers Badger was overheard saying, "Theo's delightful fluting style makes him one of the most charming and vigorous of vocalists." Next up, all the way from Ireland, were the Southern Starlings, full of confidence with their short tails, pointed head and triangular wings. They looked black at a distance, but when seen close up, the audience was thrilled with their aerial synchronized routine, performing to Flying Without Wings in their glossy outfits of purple and green. A true princess of pop and the bookies' favourite was next on stage, the delightful Jenny Wren, who, despite her diminutive size, she was considered to be one of the more powerful singers. However, on the night, Jenny was still recovering from a virus and struggled through Kylie Minogue's hit Can't Get You Out of My Head. Then followed an amazing gymnastic display by the Essex Street dance troupe, Multiplicity. Comprising of 12 blue tits, including 4 siblings, they produced loud oohs and ahs from the audience as they swung upside down from branch to branch, suspended high above the stage. Farrell Songthrush performed one of his own compositions, Happy, but many lost the urge to be happy and clap along, as these phrases continually repeated, with a couple of hecklers wishing he would go into space. But David Magpie had to admit Farrell did enunciate his phrases with clarity and vigour, and it appears his popularity lies among the younger members of the audience. Closing the first half fell to a distant relative of Farrell, Tina Misselthrush, who was using tonight's performance to launch her solo career, having recently split with her longtime partner Red. Performing simply the best, the judges later decided her singing to be aggressive and powerful, if a little harsh. Following a 20-minute interval, the Hawk Crew, Harrier, Swift and Falcon, performed an elaborate aerial display to Rhythm of the Night. Jonathan Swift powering himself to speeds topping 70 miles an hour as he flew horizontally across the valley with his superb flexibility and a rapid wing beat, hovering motionless before flying backwards, then upside down, as Marston Harriers swooped and soared above him. Then, for their big finish, and to gasps and screams from the crowd, Peregrine Falcon performed a free-fall flight. Next to perform was the delightful Natalie Nightingale. Her high, low, and rich tones produced a rich and vigorous version of Natural Woman. Her polished performance in the heats having guaranteed her a place in the final, especially pleasing to the more mature among the audience. Amanda Dormouse felt she would do well on the cabaret scene. Throwing a French berry across the stage before scuttling on chirping, "Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Berry," came the youngest performer, Jack Sparrow. Then followed a succession of vocal impressions, including "Nice to see you," to which the audience reacted with the expected and raucous "Nice." But other catchphrases such as "I don't believe it" and "Lovely jubbly" were unfamiliar to the younger element of the audience, and many were relieved when he closed his act with the predicted golden oldie, "You are the weakest link, goodbye." He was followed by the talented Barbara Blackbird, whose long, mellow, beautifully shaped phrases, well defined in time and tone, with her rendering of "Evergreen," brought the audience to their feet, demanding more. The penultimate act to grace the stage was another member of the Blackbird family, Barbara's cousin Leonard, singing "Hallelujah." Later, Will I. Otter said the youngster had delivered this popular song with fantastic technique and modulation of tone. Closing the show fell to a gospel choir called the Dawn Chorus, who within seconds were in full song with a special arrangement of Duran Duran's "Hold Back the Rain." Although at times it was seemed each feathered creature was vying for top spot, their harmonies could not be faulted. The climax came as Roan and Robin perched on a single fine branch of a beech tree overhanging the stage to take a personal solo, the choir then joining in on "Hold Back the Rain." After much deliberation, the judges decided the winners to be the Hawk Crew, the announcement greeted with rapturous applause. Calling them back for a final bow, Brucey Hedgehog said it was Peregrine's effortless combined thrust and lift which enabled him to achieve an average speed of 198 miles per hour and earned them the top spot. As Minas Colo presented the Winners' Cup, he promised the event would be held the following year, species decline permitting.